Is Tina Venner, and I chose to make a big giant storybook for my presentation. So here we go. Victor was a spoiled child and became a spoiled adult who made bad choices. And that's relevant to our society because parents in our society raise privileged children who think society's rules don't apply to them. And they justify their child's bad behavior raising a society of adults who make bad choices. So, the result of Victor's lifelong bad choices, Walton found Victor in the freezing ocean. Victor's parents loved him. He had a wonderful childhood. Victor said wealth was an inferior object, but what glory would attend the discovery. So, his parents were loving and kind, and they didn't want him to be sad, and they let him run off to school. Victor became obsessed with making his creature. He said a race of people will worship him. So he ended up bringing a dead body to life, and he could not take responsibility for it because it was horrid. So the monster got upset and killed Victor's brother and caused Justine to be falsely accused and sentenced to death. Victor was guilty for these deaths, but never spoke up. He had no consideration for his family, who mourned for months and months. Victor pouted and sulked in the forest. Victor was angry at the monster. His hatred and revenge burst all bonds of moderation. He had no compassion for the abandoned monster. The monster learned human emotions. He was sad and hurt. He wanted love. Victor had no empathy for that monster. The monster asked him, he said, I just want a companion. And all Victor could think was, ew, gross. Victor was selfish. He told the monster he would make a woman. Victor was not true to his word. He said, okay, monster, I'll make you a lady if you'll go away forever. But then later, Victor tore up the lady he was making. So the monster killed Henry. That made Victor really upset and sad. Victor was overwhelmed by his emotions and became ill for months. Elizabeth marries Victor. Victor only thinks of himself, and the monster kills Elizabeth. The monster told Victor he would be there on his wedding day. Victor was so selfish that he only thought of himself. The monster wasn't going to kill Victor. He was going to kill Elizabeth. So Victor decided he would go home to see his father, and his father dies a few days later from too much sadness. Victor finally takes responsibility for his chaos and corruption. He says, I'm going to kill that monster. I'll chase him forever to the end of his life. So this is important because parents, they take their babies to the store and buy their child things because the baby cries and cries and the parent doesn't want to hear it or deal with it and says, okay, I'll buy you a candy. So children that are spoiled make bad choices. They trip kids and they cause them to bleed. And then they say, wow, mom, my foot is hurt. Parents barge into school and make their child out to be the one wronged. So later in life, the children are ready for college. Parents take out huge loans to pay for fancy education. Oftentimes, it's time for those grown children to go out and get a job and to work. And the children say, why go out and work? Your basement's comfortable. Later on, those children become late for work. Because we raise spoiled children, they are irresponsible and late for work. So that's important because sometimes when we raise spoiled children, they become terrible adults. And that was the same for Victor. The end.